my favorite moments in concerts actually when people fuck up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, they're humans.
Yeah.
Nice.
And even like if you can save it without nobody noticing it, which
Yes.
usually happens, it's the
Very
the
satisfying.
skill.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Guys Trip, a podcast of the artists, by the artists, and for the artists. And today I have with me master of ancient instruments, a researcher, scrawler of the scrolls, you might say.
Maybe, yeah.
a scroll crawler. Laura Dümpelmann, right?
Yes.
I pronounced
That's
it.
my name, Laura Dümpelmann.
And I pronounced it correctly,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Good.
very well.
This is very important, you know.
Thanks.
Good. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for being here as well.
I mean, actually, thanks for the. What's the name of the place actually?
Is it Zentrum für Kunst Bremen.
Zentrum für Kunst Bremen for hosting us.
Yeah.
So, before we start, I'll set some. I'll explain the format and set some ground rules. Basically, we are interviewing each other. With the goal. The goal is to have like interesting and nice conversations about art, life, and everything else we want to talk about. You're asking me 5 questions. I'm asking you 5 questions. We're doing it like in rotation. You may reject any question that I ask you if it makes you uncomfortable or you're not interested in answering it. I may not reject. Use this power wisely. You can decide who goes first, which would also affect who goes last, because it's, math.
Obvious.
Each question can lead to a discussion of up to 10 minutes. It's not like I have here like a timer, like checking the time, but like we'll try to like make the discussions no longer than 10 minutes, because otherwise we'll just like sit here and talk forever. At the end of each question, we make a toast with this nice whiskey.
Amazing.
Yes. And just one more rule: if we're gonna mention people like by name, we should just make sure to not mention them negatively. So if you want to mention anyone negatively, just don't say their name.
That's a good concept. Let's see if it's necessary. But
yeah, you don't know what. So without further ado, I think we can start. Unless you have any questions about the format, how things work. Great.
No, it's fine.
Great. Who would you like to start?
I would start with a question.
Yes.
Question is, as you're traveling around and talking to people, what is the longest time you have not spoken to anybody, like in person or on the phone?
To any? What
person.
Do you mean anybody?
Like any human.
What was the longest time of like no communications with anyone ever?
Yeah.
Wow, this is an interesting.
Like spoken communication.
Yeah. Also, no text or like.
Maybe no. Just I was wondering about the talking on the phone or like sending voicemails.
So
with the voice.
With the voice, yes. This is interesting. I think. Usually while I'm traveling, I'm always communicating with people, even if it's like people that I don't know, right? Like when I even like with the bus driver or like with the people on the different vehicles I
Yeah,
take
of
to
course.
travel around, or just like people on the street. Um, I think the longest I went without communicating with anyone was actually the first time I was in Austria, which was 2017, I think. Um, I was doing like a work away. Do you know this concept? Like woofing?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, it's
woofing,
like
I know.
you go to someone's place, you do some work,
Yeah.
and you get like a place to stay and like food to eat, and it's nice. So I was in a place called Grabenberg.
Great.
It's like
Oh
an
no.
hour from Graz.
Okay.
And the guy who hosted me, like I talked with him like a few months before. It's like, yeah, of course you can come, everything is fine. And then like a month before I came, he sent me a message. Oh, while you'll be here, I won't be here. And it's like,
no.
oh, okay. It's like, don't worry. Like everything is fine. You'll have everything you need. I just need to go away to like somewhere. He didn't explain much.
Good.
Which was already like, yeah. So I was there for like a month, and I had some communication with like the neighbors, and like of course I went on walks, and it was like a village of like 5 houses, right? It's like
Yeah. Pretty small.
But like I think there were like some days that like it was basically just me without communicating with anybody, and also like the internet there was like non-existent.
Yeah.
So there was actually also no phone, no texting.
Yeah.
So I think there were like maybe there was like a 72-hour period there that I was like out of communication with like anybody. But I would say this is like the maximum. I was never like on a 2 week
Yeah.
trip on a lonely island or something like that.
Yeah.
That
Extreme.
would be really nice. But like, yeah, I would say that this would be my maximum of non-communication.
And it was not intentional, I guess.
No, but it was actually nice.
Yeah.
It was nice. Like I got some like writing at this time, and it was like, yeah, I
Wow.
can.
And you have never met the guy, like seen him in person while
No,
working there?
I saw him when I came there,
Okay.
and he was there for like a day or two, and then he left,
Okay.
and then he came back with a wife that he didn't have before.
Wow.
And then he told me, I have a new wife.
Okay.
You need to get out of here.
What?
You need to find another place to stay.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was your work actually then?
I did some gardening
Okay.
and like, just like cleaning around the house, just like
Yeah. So not
normal
business,
chores.
just helping him with his house.
Yeah, just
Okay.
like I would help with the household. It
Yeah.
was actually quite nice. Yeah. Yeah, but it was very strange. Very, very strange.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Interesting story.
Yeah. Yeah. After that, I went to Fürstenfeld.
Okay, I've
Yeah.
never. Fürstenfeld. Is it also close to Graz?
No, it's
No.
the other another area of Austria. It's like in Burgenland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And there, I was like with the family with kids, and like there, I had communications with people every day, whether I liked it or not.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah, it
see.
was nice. Yeah. How long have you been without communications with anyone?
I think about the same. Like,
Uh-huh.
I once did it not really on purpose, but
Uh-huh.
I had some days between. I don't know. I bought a cheap ticket, and I had like 3 or 4 days
Uh-huh.
between my end of rehearsals and the ticket. And I was in France, and I had really no clue what to do with these days, so I just found a random Airbnb and I booked it.
Uh-huh.
And then it turned out that it was very hard to get there, etc., without a car.
Uh-huh.
And in the end, it turned out like there was nothing really around, and also no internet. So
So you just stayed there for
I
2
just
days?
stayed there. I was walking around a lot,
Uh-huh.
and I was just staying there basically. But
Uh-huh.
it was a good experience,
Mhm.
and I think it was also the longest one without actually seeing people or talking to people.
Uh-huh. I mean, there's this thing that people do, the Vipassana. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, of course.
That like people like take on themselves to be silent for like how long is it? Like a
I
week
think
or
it's
10 days?
10 days typically.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
but this is really interesting because you do it with other people.
Yes.
So it's not that like you decide alone that you don't communicate with people and people around you are like normal.
Yeah.
Like everyone is in this mode. So I guess it's like, it's quite different.
And also it's different than being alone actually, because you're not alone.
You're not alone, yeah.
And on the other hand, I think you have to like, I don't know, meditations and like strict stuff, which probably makes it harder also.
There's
just not talking, you can do lots of things which can still distract you. So it's not really necessarily like a tough experience, I think.
I guess it can be.
It can be,
it
but
depends on your
does not
personality.
have to be. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I never did it. Like I'm always like thinking maybe one day I'll do it. It's just that like you need the time.
Yeah.
It's like you need to take like 10 days of vacation or something like that, and it's like
heavy.
if I'm taking vacation, I prefer like traveling to somewhere far and not.
Yes. Well, some people travel far to do it as well.
That's true. That's true. Vipassana tourism.
Yes, yeah.
That's
pay a lot.
Maybe that's the solution. Cool. So,
good.
What should we drink to? To talking. I like talking.
Yes, good.
All right. So I'll ask you the first question I ask every one of my guests. How are you doing these days?
Oh, it's a good question. You mean in general these days? These days,
you can take it. You can take it wherever you like.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I find myself kind of swimming around, like the aquarium which we saw earlier this day. Like maybe not as dead as this looked.
There are more fish with you.
Yes, there are fish, and there's stuff to discover. Like, but in sense of going in different directions and a bit discovery mode, which is fun, and also. I don't know. I think I'm rather in an empty period in my life right now, these months or
empty
weeks.
In the sense of like not busy.
Yes.
With a lot of projects.
Not over busy. So there's some chances to explore stuff which I would not explore otherwise, or just somehow get out of the tunnel, but get rather more distracted. So. And I cannot
like
say if I feel very good or comfortable. Maybe not so comfortable actually.
Yeah,
but it's
that's
good.
what I wanted to ask. Like, is there like a sense of freedom in this? That like because like one of the advantages fish have over us is that they have 360 movement, right?
Yes.
They can go up, down, like all directions.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Also imagining. Yeah.
So there is some freedom in this, that like you can basically choose what to do with your free time.
Yeah.
And did you have any interesting experience with that?
I guess yes, but I cannot yet tell which is especially interesting. But in general, I feel it's very necessary and very healthy also for my mind, and and it can clear out just thoughts and patterns which I maybe had when just going straight in a tunnel to achieve certain things, and just to think, okay, I have to achieve it, and then I get the validation and I achieve the next one, and this doesn't really work for the fish, so they don't care, I guess.
Do you see yourself as a person who needs to achieve a lot of things, who's like competitive in this sense?
I can be, but I think it's not good for me. I think it's not good for anyone actually, but yeah. Also, I don't want to. I mean, like, it's nice to experience it sometimes, and it can get you somewhere. But also, I'm very glad to leave it alone regularly.
Nice. And do you feel there are things you're doing these days. This like for how long have you been in this like period of the free time? We
Not
can call
so
it the
long.
swimming
A
period.
few weeks, I would say.
You've been swimming for a few weeks.
Like 4 weeks, and I think, but it will continue
Uh-huh.
unless I
Uh-huh.
decide differently. But yeah.
Have you done anything in the past few weeks that you would have never done before?
Good question. I have done some experiments,
Uh-huh.
which I think would have not happened
Uh-huh.
otherwise. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like singing experiments with a
Singing
friend.
experience. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Which just came out of the relaxed way and just spending time together and not having anything to achieve with it, basically. She actually had to achieve, but I was just just go with the flow.
So for you, it was just
yes.
This is nice.
And it was very, very nice, and for both of us in the end.
What was the experiment like?
We were singing as a chant and actually sitting very close to each other and then putting our ears and our mouth onto each other on different spots. And then we were just listening and feeling the sound, how
and you were
comes out.
So you were doing it at the same time. So like your ear was on her body and her ear was on your body at the same.
No, usually we had just one ear on the other's body.
And you would sing at the same time, both of you.
And we also did ear on ear.
Ear on ear. That's interesting.
All of them were very interesting, actually.
Is there like a particular one that is more interesting than the other, like a particular body
position
part? Yeah, that is interesting to listen to.
Yes, I was very amazed by the back. Actually, it's quite basic, and I would recommend actually trying it. Like having the ear on the back, and then can go up and down. But this was on one hand very nice to feel if somebody's doing it on your back because it goes to the bones.
Okay.
But also the sensation to be able to hear what will happen, like just hear what happens in the body and through it.
Yes.
Somehow was very cool.
Wow.
Okay,
cool.
It's getting a bit weird, probably.
No, I don't know. I think it's really cool. I think like this is the thing, like you said, like when we're not swimming, when we're racing, we don't take the time to actually like listen and think about what we do. And when we actually take the time to explore, I think at the end we get way more interesting results because we can make these connections.
Yeah.
Because now, for example, you have this like perception of like listening with other parts of your body that are not only the ears. Like now you know to listen with your back.
Yeah.
Which is like not a lot of people have this ability, you know. And this would for sure, if you ever go back to the race course out of the fish pond,
yes.
This would definitely help you, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, it's not weird. For me, it's like it's what we should be doing instead of like racing, to take the time and to think what we how we can explore further all these ideas around listening and around singing as well, because I guess you also sing differently when someone has hit their ear against your shoulder, for example.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as we were both singing and then switching the position so we could just feel it from both perspectives. Yeah, very cool.
Nice.
Yes.
Should we drink to
fish?
To fish.
Hey. Matches a bit, no, but connects a bit. Do you have any routines, ideas, or tips how to sharpen the senses and the mind for aesthetics and all sorts of tastes, smells, whatever is to perceive with the senses?
Interesting.
Or mind.
Yeah. How to expand your mind. Let's think. I mean, I would say first of all, be open. Like this is like the probably the most obvious thing. Like in order to perceive something, you need to be open to perceive it. Because there's a lot of things that are outside of our reality, not because they're not there, because we're not open for perceiving them. Um, Actually, in my last conversation with the Sagay Chismato, we were talking about all these sounds that we have in our day-to-day lives,
Hmm?
like the sounds of our shoes on the floor, or
Oh
the
yeah,
sound of the squeaky door.
yeah,
And most of the time we take these sounds for granted, for
yeah.
example. So I would say, like, just be open to perceive everything um, through a different lens. And probably something people could do is just like play games with that. Like, one game that me and my friends during my bachelor's loved to play was, okay, imagine that life is a composition, like someone composed everything, all the sounds, all the things that you see, all the smells that you smell. And then, first of all, like the first time you'll do it, like you'll feel high. You'll feel like you're in a fucking acid trip
Yeah.
because suddenly, like everything, like like everything has a meaning, which
Yeah.
is like it can make you crazy also, because you need to like to be very perceptive of everything. But it can create like really interesting aesthetic moments because suddenly you notice really weird things. You know, there's like, this person entered the room at the exact same moment the other person entered the room. That's great
Hmm.
composition.
Yeah.
um, or even like, like if someone sneezes,
Mm.
um, and you think, okay, this sneeze was in relation to what was before and what was after.
Yeah.
So someone said something, someone sneezed, someone said something else. What's the relation there? So this is like one nice exercise. um I don't know, another nice thing to do um is to in a way dull the other senses.
Yeah.
So for example, to close your ears, close your nose, and decide that you focus on this like one brick on the floor, and you explore all the curves and all the textures that are there, and there are a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like this is the insane thing. Like everything is like a microcosm in a way. Like our reality is like fractal
Yeah. Hmm.
in this way, right? Like everything contains like an entire universe if you just like explore it well enough.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I would say like yeah, like there are so many things you could do. There's have you ever seen this film Her?
I don't think so. I'm not a film person.
It's it's with Joaquin Phoenix. He plays now the Joker in these
Okay.
Joker movies.
Yeah.
Bad movies. Wouldn't recommend. But like the um in this movie, he plays a guy who falls in love. It's actually a decade old movie, and he falls in love with an AI assistant.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And there's like a really nice moment there at the end that she dumps him. And he asks her like, "Where are you going?" And she tells him like, like when you read a book, there are like letters and words, like there are sentences, and the sentences are made of words, and the words are made of letters. And she tells him, I'm going to the place beyond the letters, like the small space beyond the
Mhm.
letters. um so like yeah, like look for the small spaces beyond the
Mhm.
letters. Like that's where things really happen.
Yeah. Wow. So cool.
I mean, but I guess you have your own things. Like I know that you're really like you're of course a professional performer, and you do a lot of explorations of fixed material, but of material, um, and you need to have also always this openness, right,
Yes.
to perceive it in different ways and to always see it in a new light. Otherwise, it's dead,
Of course,
right? Like,
yeah,
and
there are a million ways, but sometimes it happens that we get stuck, I think.
yeah.
And then it helps a lot to just have little games.
Which games do you play in
Quite
your?
similar, I think. I
Uh-huh.
mean, rarely just my ears or my eyes, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I mostly watch out for visual things
Uh-huh.
that I like or that I find interesting.
Uh-huh.
And then sometimes I've patterns or I don't know, large scale and small, like just I play around with how the things can relate to each other.
Uh-huh.
Actually quite similar to one of the things you said.
Yeah.
Like to have some sort of cosmos which I can observe. Yeah.
But like more concretely, for example, if you have like three voices that
Yes.
all have like similar textures,
Oh yeah.
what would you usually do to like differentiate between them or to make each of them into their own cosmos, like not only in your ears but also in the ears of the listeners? Because this is the difficult thing, right? Because I can explore until infinity, but at the end of the day, if I want to present it to an audience, I need to come up with ways also to like externalize that.
Of course.
What do you do usually with your ensembles?
Well, already the three parts moving independently is quite magical.
Uh-huh.
We always perform from memory, so we need a certain time until we reach a good level where we can consciously do stuff at all. But otherwise, it's a lot of reaction and like first a decision of being active or passive somehow, and then just
It's like a dance in a way.
yes, it's like a lot of playing around with what the others do, and you either give some ideas to the other or not, and you wait and you receive, and then it something will result from it. And sometimes I try to focus on like really long-term phrases or like a long horizon, and sometimes I try to be very, you know, more crazy, more spontaneous, and switch when I have an idea, and I just cut it and then I change to a different one. For example, they're just as exercises to how to make it fun, but it all comes together with the other people. So, as you said, I can explore infinitely alone, but
yes,
it will always turn out differently, and I think it will turn out quite naturally, quite alive. Usually, even if some shit happens, then it's many times the very good moments.
Yes, like
very alive.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think these are my favorite moments in concerts actually, when people fuck up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, they're humans.
Yeah.
Nice.
And even like if you can save it without nobody noticing it, which usually happens, it's the
very satisfying.
The skill.
Yes.
Yes. And the fun.
So let's drink to the spaces between words, between letters. Good. Okay. So you mainly focus on historical music, right? Like music that like most people even perceive as like dead music.
Yes.
In this sense that like there is no real living tradition of performing it. There are many. There are multiple.
Almost.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there are multiple traditions of reviving it, but no living tradition of performing it.
Yes.
So I would ask, what is the place of these historical artifacts in our modern times?
Very good question, I would say.
Thank you.
Well,
I like that you're rating my questions.
Yes. Well, it's something that is on the one side dead, But on the other hand, most people that live today, they don't know it at all.
Yeah.
So to most people listening to it, it's actually rather new.
Yes.
So I think this is one thing that, for me, is one reason to make it exist, because of course there's infinite new things that could be invented also. They can also be there. But like this historical music also is somehow very fascinating to me and to a bunch of other people. So we are enthusiastic.
Yeah, for
present
sure
it.
you're enthusiastic. That's
And,
that's an understatement.
Yeah. And what I find especially inspiring is that back then, when it was created, the people had a completely different mindset and completely different view on the world. Like, for example, the gravity had not been yet invented.
Yeah, or
It's one of
discovered.
the-
Yeah.
Yes, like it's one of my favorite stories, because we all, of course, the stuff still already fell down, but this concept was not there. So
Yeah.
I
And this,
think-
of course, affects how you
Yeah.
write music.
yes,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
a lot. And so all of these things are still in the sources, or in what we have, what remained, like instruments or written music from these times, and they have, I don't know, they have traces of it in it, I guess, because people who built it have lived in this world. And I think some of these can be just horizon widening and inspiring, maybe for today. For example, when it comes to time or gravity,
Yes.
I think we are actually already beyond the mechanical times. You know, this very mechanical, I don't know, 19th century
Yes.
style of thinking is already quite old. But
Yes.
many people still have it in the brain. And I think, I don't know, just to set a contrast, to have some music from earlier times can help maybe to get more flexible or open, or just have different experiences about it.
Did you ever have a moment of like playing like a piece of music that like really changed your perception of like how things work or can work in the world? Even like something simple, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like not very simple, but the music is mostly, it has some hierarchy, but it's not the same way as like a modern conductor having the overall power over the orchestra or whatever. But it's rather that like the whole group is only as good as the weakest one in the group. So I like this sense that it's actually really a teamwork doing it. And it's really like the weakest one will have a big impact on the, like, on the level or on the experience.
Yeah.
So this is one of the nice inspirational points, I would say.
Yeah, very different to like a symphonic orchestra, that you can have like a terrible violinist sitting in like pult number 7 and no one hears hears him playing the wrong notes. But here, like, since every voice is like an individual voice, for most of the time, right? Like there's
like,
there's some music that is not necessarily like this, right? From the like medieval and Renaissance.
There's music where not every voice has a different role. This applies for different centuries also, but still I think you can really, really destroy it if you have if you don't know your role also.
Yes.
But also if you, it's not that one person who is very skilled can make a good result.
Yeah.
Of course, also a good conductor cannot make a very good result with a very bad orchestra or something.
Yeah.
Of course not, but I feel that the individuals are more important.
Interesting.
More equally important.
Yeah, which is like, it is a contrast to like the living tradition of the symphonic orchestra, for example. That it's like, like you said, like you have the conductor and his like the center, and the orchestra like basically serves his aesthetic vision. And here it's really like like a teamwork. Like how can these skills that you have like with playing this music can contribute to like normal classical musicians, you think?
How they would be beneficial for them?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about listening.
Uh-huh.
So on the Renaissance, we are much more dependent on listening because you experienced this morning.
Yes.
There's no score. You won't see what the others are
Yeah,
doing.
there are no bar
basically.
lines.
No bar lines, yes. So you have to listen. You have to listen both to the pulsation,
Mm-hmm.
which is not necessarily very beating
Mm-hmm.
because the gravity was not yet there. So
Yes.
they surely didn't have this sense of,
Yeah.
even if there's dance music, of course, and of course, yeah, there's pulsation in life, but it's not necessarily so strict. So the visual works very different, and the ears are more important. And also in relations, like I don't know if this is beneficial for a modern orchestra or modern musician, but the skill to have like it's probably also in some sort of modern music. It occurs that you work a lot with the overtones and with the physical stuff that it's happening,
Yes.
and you don't try to suppress it.
Uh-huh.
Like you try to be able to perceive it firstly, because that's also a skill. I think not everyone can hear overtones.
Yes.
That's a skill which is nice because it just opens up a new world. Also,
Yeah, for sure.
even if you don't use it in the repertoire you're playing, I think it still will probably still enhance it in some way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Overtone and the timbre, which is very close connected to it, which you then have maybe more options or ideas how to create or how to play music. Maybe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the art is quite beautiful, like just the way the music is written down.
Yeah, this is always
crafted,
this is
really.
always interesting when I look at these scores, that it always feels like the aesthetic of the music itself and the aesthetic of writing the music are not you can't separate
Yeah.
between them. And when you, for example, see a like notation for like a classical symphony, it's like yeah, it's like it all looks the same. Like you can see the two different pieces that the scores look the same. They might sound completely different, but like there's no there's no aesthetic connection between the notation and the music.
Yeah.
And here today we looked at some scores with like birds, right on the and with these like beautiful
initials,
decorations, of the letters, and this really puts you in a specific mood, I think, when you come to perform this music. So in a way, in a way, it's like another way for the it's not the composer because it was like notated but by someone else, but like for the person making the score to communicate elements of the music to the musicians.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah. I feel also like in a way it's like more playful and less serious.
Yes.
Not
me
that
too.
it's not serious music, right? It's like it's of course it's like you can take it very seriously and you can work on it very seriously, of course. But like it has like this like playful element that I really like.
A lot, especially the secular music. Like there's even a lot of stupid jokes in the manuscript sometimes. Like, not on every page, but when you get there, then it's like, of course, great fun to discover the joke or the stupid little figure, which I don't know, as a cooking stuff on their head or
like a chef's hat.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
So I
forgot the question.
About historical music in modern times.
Oh yes, okay.
So to historical music in modern times.
Okay. So non-musical question at all.
Hmm?
Which style of buildings and architecture do you hate the most? And why, of course?
Hmm. First of all, hate is a very strong word.
Yes.
mm, because I really find like I'm trying to find like beauty in everything,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Like that, it's my job basically.
Yes.
But no, of course there are things that I don't like. I think that I really don't like buildings that look like they were built only with like the functional
Hmm.
aspect in mind. And I'm not talking about like brutalism, right? Like I
Hmm.
actually like some brutalist
Yeah.
architecture, but like when you see that it was like, okay, we have to build a neighborhood here because there are a lot of people coming, and we just need to build a neighborhood, and it doesn't matter how it looks.
Yeah.
Um, and this I really don't like because a lot of times when that's your line of thinking, you're also not building the buildings for humans. You build them for a function,
Yeah.
and this is terrible. We see it a lot in modern cities.
Yeah.
That you have like entire neighborhoods that were built without people in mind. And you walk in the roads and they're all serviceable. You can walk there, you can drive there, but like something feels off.
Yeah.
Something feels like someone was not thinking about me, not about me personally, yeah,
Yeah.
but like about me using this place. Like for example, the like this we see all over the world, that there are cities that do it right and cities that do it wrong. The bike lanes,
Okay. Yeah.
right? Because in so it's now less about architecture and more about city
It's
planning.
good. Good. Good.
But
You're used to it.
but like right, there are places that like the bike lanes are very clear.
Yeah.
It's very clear where they are, why they are there, and for me as like for the bike rider, that it's like it's very clear and comfortable to use, and for me as like a normal walker, it's a pedestrian, it's very clear for me that like I shouldn't go there, or that at least I should look twice
Yeah.
before going there. And actually here in Bremen there are like a lot of areas that like I think it's like really poorly
Yeah.
developed, because it's very clear that it's like, oh, we need bike lanes. What do? We just like change the color of the bricks
Yes. They do it
on
here.
the on the sidewalk, and it's like it's very unintuitive, and like I found myself multiple times walking on the bike lanes and the bike riders being really angry with me, and it's like, yeah, fine, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but like it's your stupid city that like
Yeah. No
didn't,
space. Just.
yeah, that didn't plan it correctly.
All right.
Mm,
Have you done biking in Basel?
no, I don't bike at all.
Ah, all right,
Actually,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
I'm a normal pedestrian. But like, is it good in Basel?
It's terrible
It's terrible in Basel.
because it's on the maybe the opposite of Bremen, but you're like sometimes you feel like a car. You're in the middle of a really really huge road. You have three or on each side like lanes of cars, and in the middle you have a bike lane.
Wow.
And then you have to like it's really insane. I
Yeah.
think, but I was just
I think from what
thinking.
I saw, like the best bike lanes I've seen in Germany are in Münster.
Okay.
Because they built it really clever there. Like I don't know if it's everywhere, but in the place I saw, they first of all they built two bike lanes, one for each direction,
Mhm.
and they go with the direction of the cars,
Yeah.
and this is amazing. So it's like another lane between the sidewalk and the road.
Yeah.
And this is like very yeah, it's very clear. Everyone knows where they should be.
Yes.
and like yeah, it's much safer and it's much nicer. But yeah, maybe like to go back to buildings.
Hmm.
I think like a lot of times there's no thinking of like the small details that really matter.
Mm.
Like for example, like you build a building, there's usually like a hof, right? Like a central area,
Yeah.
either in front of the building or at the back of the building.
Yeah.
And I think this can really make or break the building as like a successful structure, because good central places in buildings can, first of all, can really bring people together.
Yeah.
Because if you have like a central yard that like all neighbors can go down and like meet each other at, like,
Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if but if not, if it's just like a boring area that nothing happens, it will naturally become a junkyard.
Yes.
Usually. Another thing I saw actually in Tel Aviv, they have now these like huge residential buildings. It's like skyscrapers, but not for like offices.
Okay.
For actually for people to live there.
Wow.
Like you can live on the 40th floor and have like a view to the entire city.
And it's modern.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was once in one of these buildings, and the worst thing is the way the hallways are built is that you basically have a private hallway to your apartment. So it's built in such a way that like the chances of you seeing your neighbors are very, very low. So you're basically like
Okay.
living alone in your
So you take
building.
the elevator and you just
Yes, and you
see-
take your hallway
Oh.
and you get to your apartment. and you-
scary a bit.
yeah, and you never see your neighbors.
Ah.
And this is like really insane. Like
Yeah.
this like again, like this like extremely functional
Mm.
way of like approaching like the building, that it's like this is like these are cubicles for humans to reside.
Yes.
And and there's like no reason that they'll interact or that they have like a shared space where they can meet and like talk to each other, because
Yeah.
like you know it's dangerous when people talk to each other.
Of course.
They might have some ideas.
Oh shit. Yes. Wow. And like there must be a huge amount of people living in one building
Yeah.
also. So it's very scary to be with many people, but on the other hand,
Yeah.
very alone.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I would be curious to visit such as well once. Like
Yeah, it's definitely an
see it.
interesting. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely interesting. Also, the view is amazing, right?
Okay, of course.
You're on the 40th floor. You see the entirety of Tel Aviv from your
Yeah.
bedroom. This is great. But this is like, I guess, the only perk of such
Okay.
of such a state. Yeah.
Good.
What should we drink to?
To the human details
The human details.
in
Yes.
building.
It is time.
Okay.
Laura, tell us something we don't know about you.
Okay. So, I must admit, I have heard this question in one of your.
Yeah, I
Already
asked this. I
recorded.
ask everyone this question.
So, something that you and others might not know, but
Uh-huh.
should be of interest
Uh-huh.
some way. Well, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something very embarrassing or.
You can take it
Stuff.
to whichever direction you'd like. Embarrassing is always funnier, but like,
Yeah.
of course, you don't need to embarrass yourself.
Okay, so my funny detail, when I was a child, I really wanted to be a dancer.
Uh-huh.
And it's not very embarrassing, but it is, I think, something that I was hiding a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I was always saying, oh, I like dancing, but it was really a dream which I buried
Okay.
quite young.
Uh-huh.
But which sometimes comes out, I think,
Mhm.
in the way I live or
Uh-huh.
in the things I'm interested in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you, I mean, did you take any dance course like
I wanted
ever
to,
since
and
your
it,
childhood?
like my parents would not allow me to do so.
Yeah,
and
but I
that
mean,
was why.
after you became an
After,
adult.
yeah, like no, actually not. I was going to dance stuff, but I
Ah,
never
okay.
took any lessons. Or yes, I think I took some lessons, but it didn't really kick off. I don't know. I didn't really access
Yeah.
it the way I wish to, maybe.
Yeah. But dancing is
But it's
an
still,
important part of your life.
yes, but it's also always some, I don't know, secret part of my life
A
in
secret
some
part of
way.
your life.
Yes.
How so?
So I don't know. I would not do it. Show people. Mostly, I don't know.
But do you go to like dance events? Do you dance?
Sometimes, yes.
Like not only in your house, like
Yes.
also outside.
I mean,
Ah.
yes, I do it, but it's usually with some very different people which I would not meet in daily life or in my
Ah, so
professional life.
you have your
So
dance
it's-
crew.
Yes, I would not necessarily say crew, but yes.
I would say it's a crew.
I don't share it with the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. No,
Uh-huh.
it's not on the open side.
Uh-huh. And what is
My
your
life.
favorite style to dance?
Actually, I like pretty classical.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I cannot do it. You mean what I would do? Yes, I don't know. I like to rather not too wild,
Mm-hmm.
but very energetic still.
Uh-huh.
Like I like to jump and to be quick, but I would not necessarily be not very rough also.
Mm,
So fluid maybe.
fluid dance.
Yes.
What kind of music do you usually like dancing to?
That's also a very good question. It can be very different, I think.
Yeah.
Just music that I'm emotionally connected to. I think it's a very emotional thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I like anything that moves me.
Uh-huh.
So it can be cheesy music, but it can be also historical music. It can be also hip hop. It can be anything, actually. I mean, not anything, but
Is there a song that like once you hear it, you have to get up and dance?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
No. If it comes to mind,
Yeah,
I will say
yeah.
it, but I don't have one that comes out right this. Yes. Well,
Oh.
it's actually not so interesting, maybe.
No,
But I
think
still shared it. Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting with like with the kind of music you usually play. A lot of times they're like historical dances, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, I do that as well. But somehow this is very disconnected to the urge to dance. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
because they're usually very schematic. Also,
Yeah,
these
exactly.
dances, right? Like there's like a very specific way to dance them, and there's like
Yeah.
I'm sure like with the music, there's also like a room for improvisation there.
Yeah.
But like for this, you need to be
Very skilled.
yeah.
Yes.
But this is interesting. Is it important for you that the music that you play will have this ability to move other people?
Yes, I like it a lot. I mean, it doesn't happen always, of course, but yes, the potential at least, I think,
And do
it's
you?
most rewarding for me.
It's what? Sorry.
It's very rewarding for me if it happens.
Yes. Do you like actively search for it when you're like now working on a project and you play music that is that is like
Very
dance?
catchy.
Yeah. That even if it's like an historical dance,
Yeah.
that like do you is it important for you that like while you're working on it with the group that it will really be danceable and you'll feel the pulse and the
Oh yes, yes, yes.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, because especially some of my colleagues, it should be obvious that the pulse is good, just to meet all the requirements in classical music. But yes, of course, because it's part of making it alive.
Yeah.
Also.
I mean, maybe it's pulse is the wrong word because music can have like the most correct pulse,
Yes.
but it won't have the groove.
Yes, it will be dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's important for you to have the groove in a way of
it's
the
very
of the
something.
movement that goes along with the music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind
of, yes.
Cool. Groovy.
Groovy, yes.
Cool.
Groovy.
So to dancing.
Yes.
Mhm. And who knows? You're still young. You might
Yes.
you might still be a professional dancer one day.
Not necessarily, but maybe I will get
Never
further.
say never.
Right.
Okay.
What type of person would you have been in antique or mythological Greece? Or
Ooh.
if you don't want to be any of them, like who would you
Yeah.
talk to?
Interesting. Wait. First of all,
Oh yes.
yeah. Mm, so we're talking about Greek mythology times, right?
Yes, but also it can be also
Which kind
person.
of character I would like to be?
Yes.
Ah, interesting. Like, is the question which character I would like to be, or which character I believe I could be? You know what I mean? Because
Yes,
it's
I
not
know
the
what you
same
mean.
thing.
No, I mean rather whose life or stories you would like to experience.
Uh huh.
So who would you would like to be
Yeah.
so that you
I
can.
mean, probably Odysseus. It's pretty cool, just like
Yes.
because he traveled so much. His life were fucked. Like it's not
Yes.
like it doesn't seem so nice to be Odysseus on one hand. On the other hand, like to see all the things that he saw and hear all the things that he heard, like pretty cool. It was like to hear the sirens without getting tempted. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Pretty hardcore.
Yes.
um.
Very smart, maybe.
Mhm.
It might feel very smart to be him, like to
Probably, yeah. Yeah, like
know what
to
he
fool,
was thinking.
to fool these
Yeah.
sirens
Yeah.
and the Cyclop.
Yes.
I mean, I would definitely wouldn't want to be anywhere in the vicinity of like the Oedipus family. Which city is city of Tabai? What's the
Oh yeah.
Thebes? What's the name of the city? Yeah.
Yes. Dangerous.
Nowhere near this. um, I would probably just out of curiosity would want to like go into the cave of the Minotaur,
Mm-hmm.
miniature, however you say this. But probably this is like a death wish, right? Like if you go into the cave of the Minotaur, you don't return.
Probably yes.
That's-
Unless you are the
Oh,
monster.
if I could be the Minotaur, that's cool. I mean,
Well.
yeah, it's like the Minotaur. He kept the which city? Like there was one city that like the Minotaur, like he kept it prosperous, right?
Yes.
Like they were like they had like a really prosperous situation, and it was always peace, and like the only condition was that they'll sacrifice their children.
Yeah.
So like
Terrible.
so to know that you're like responsible to like such a good situation, like
Perfect.
yeah, and I don't have to eat the kids. I can just like keep them like teach them music. I'll be like
In
I'll
the
be
cave.
the educational miniature. Like
Nobody would
yeah,
expect it.
exactly. Yeah, and this is how you do a double dominant.
Yeah.
This is how you do a cadence. It's like
They would never come out again, but
yeah, exactly.
very skilled.
Yeah, it will be the best orchestra that no one has ever heard.
Exciting.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I'm not so familiar with like Greek mythology. Like, did I miss any like interesting characters?
I'm also not super familiar with it. I don't know. I just find it somehow always funny because they have all the adventures and
Yeah.
somehow strong characters in it. So I was interested
Yeah.
in your associations to it. No.
I mean, maybe for like non-mythological times, maybe I would probably be very interested in like meeting the like the Roman scholars.
Okay.
Just because it's like really interesting, like the whole way they worked, because they had like they wrote everything on scrolls, right? They
Yes.
these like huge libraries of scrolls. So it's like
Yes.
just to see like how they work, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
to be around them, it's like
Of course. And their brains. I would very, very curious to be like to be in their brain. You
to
know,
be in
like
their
what is
brain.
information they must have
Uh-huh.
in terms of.
Yeah.
Yes, they wrote down stuff, but a lot was in their brain, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's quite
Yeah,
fascinating.
this is really interesting. Like, how does the brain of someone who doesn't shower for 1 week work? Right? Like the hygiene standards of the time were
Yeah, right.
it had to affect their brains, right?
Of
Like
course.
no way like their brains function the way our brains do.
Yes, certainly more hardcore.
Hardcore brains.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah, but I don't know, like I'm always thinking about that. Like the people at like ancient times, their perception of reality was so different. Like even like people, even our parents or like our grandparents, right? Like even like with everything that is like related to information,
Yes.
right? Like if we're talking about information now, it's very clear that like if I don't know something, I can just like search it on the internet,
Yes.
and after 5 seconds I will know it, or I'll know some lie that someone wrote on the internet, but it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
I like even in ancient Rome when you read through the scrolls, like some of the things written there were probably lies. Like
Surely.
no information is 100% like
Yes. Yes.
safe or like yeah false proof. um but like the speed in which we can like
Of course, and the effort is so little today.
exactly so this like completely changes our perception of reality or like meeting people, right? Like it used to be that like you would schedule with someone like yeah in 3 weeks I'll be in this city,
Try.
let's meet there, and you had no smartphone or like a
Yes.
way to like communicate this with this person, but like somehow you would meet.
Yes. Miraculous.
How did people do
Yes.
that, you know? It's very impressive. They had like really good skills at the
Yeah, I
time.
think so. Yes.
Probably really good communication skills also.
Yeah, and I would trust that they would meet somebody if they had
Exactly,
an
yeah, yeah.
appointment. Like
Yeah, if
it
you
would
schedule with
happen.
someone, like it,
Mostly, probably it
yeah.
happened.
And if it didn't happen, like probably, yeah, it was probably eaten by a bear.
Yes.
Like or something. That's the only logical explanation, you know. um. So yeah, I'm like, it's like an interesting thought experiment, but in a way, like I'm glad I'm living when we are
Of
living
course.
now. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be someone in like ancient Greek mythology. It seems like pretty shitty.
Even Odysseus, he lived long, you know.
Who?
Odysseus,
Odysseus?
he didn't die right away. He
How
had a
long?
long life.
How long did he
I have no
live?
idea, but he lived through so many things. I
Yeah.
guess he was not dying right after birth. Surely not.
I mean,
but, you know, it just he had a life.
yeah, no. For sure, he had it
He was
better than like
fortunate,
than
I
most.
think.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course. Like most children died right before the age of
And
one.
then in the war,
And the-
most people died.
yeah,
So,
yeah, of course, yeah. He had like he was pretty lucky. Yeah. To be lucky during these times must have been like super exciting, like way
Yes.
more exciting than now, for sure.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, because like also like everything like people were like surprised by seeing fire, right? Like it's like whoa, what is this glowing thing? You know?
But today, people are still sometimes surprised seeing fire. I think
True.
so. It's
True.
already
True. No, it's like it's like a reverse. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll drink for like being surprised by things. I think
Nice.
it's important to be surprised.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say that you have no limitations of any kind. Okay, no uh time limitations, no budget limitations, no resource limitations. What is your big fantasy project?
Having a nice castle came to my mind suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
Just inviting people, generally having the capacity to invite, to have a beautiful spaces, big, small, any kind, and to create nice art in there. And
what would be the style of the art?
Well, I think I would focus on the same stuff which I am actually focusing. I would just have the ideal conditions to do it, like just invite different people to make music together, and I'm pretty sure I would also get open to create other sorts of art. That would be not one style, I think. But I would be, the castle should be well built, very comfortable and nice, and good acoustics, and
it will
good
be
to live in.
Will it be a new castle? Like not would it be like an ancient castle that you?
Yes.
An ancient castle.
I think yes, an ancient castle, but of course like renovated and made comfortable for the people of nowadays. Yes.
So what would it have that like old castles don't?
Electricity and water and
castles had water, right?
Good heating. It would have fire as well because it's nice and comfortable. I think this would be a basic thing where I could money-wise spend a lot, or also time-wise. I know time limitations. Do you mean that time doesn't exist, or do you mean that
you have
I
no
just
limitations?
Have as much time as I have.
Yeah, for working on it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, then I think it could be an outcome. It would have a beautiful garden, or wood, or like various sort of nature. Yes, and just I think it would match that people can come and stay there for how long they like to.
It's like
not forever, but they can stay and spend time and interact. We can interact and create stuff, and then people don't have to stay forever. They can also leave again.
They're allowed to leave?
Yes, of course.
Like people are allowed to leave your castle.
Yes,
nice.
That's not Minotaur.
Clarification. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like Disneyland, basically.
Maybe. I have never been. Oh yes, I have been to Disneyland. I didn't like it all. But no, I just thought about a castle because it's a big building.
Yes.
Like stable, acoustically nice for what I do, like inspiring.
Yeah.
Like well built. If it can sustain.
Would you have an organ in the castle?
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
I would have all sorts of instruments. Like I have ideas what I would maybe get there first, but other people would probably bring other stuff, which is also very nice. So it would be very, very well equipped with all sorts of instruments.
Yes. So you have like this huge instruments library.
Yes.
In the castle.
Yes.
Interesting. And and the people who come to your castle, they're allowed to play these instruments, or only if they're professional musicians?
No, they would be allowed to play.
It's like a space for people to also like experiment with these.
To try and to learn also if they want to learn. I mean, I would not want just random people coming, trying it once and going away and masses of that. Of course not. But yes, I would ideally be really open to anyone who's interested. I don't think there would be millions of people.
No, definitely
coming,
not.
So
definitely
no problem, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you can also you also imagine like events.
Yes.
In this castle.
Yes. Surely. Yes.
Give me an example of such event. I'm just like I heard that there's like this event in Laura's castle.
Oh yes. Okay.
In where is the castle located? Ideally.
Good question. I will talk about the event maybe first.
Yes.
Maybe it comes to my
Yeah.
mind.
I'm just like a concert goer. I
Yeah.
heard there's this like really cool event in Laura's castle. I walk in. First of all, is there a dragon guarding the castle?
Well, can be if a dragon feels attracted. I would not search for it, I think.
Mhm.
But if
But it's
it
a nice
comes,
dragon, right? He would let me in.
dragon can be
Okay.
there if
Or
yeah.
she, I don't know.
Yeah,
like-
yeah, yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Yes, okay, why not?
Okay, so I'm past the dragon. What do I
You're
see?
in. um, you have nice lighting.
Uh-huh.
You can, store your stuff which you don't need. If you have luggage, you can just put it away and be free.
That's nice.
Take off your shoes if you want. Just
Mhm.
feel very at home or comfortable.
Oh.
And you can have a drink or some food to feel comfortable at first.
Uh-huh.
Maybe there would be stuff to read or to write even,
Uh-huh.
like to already interact a little bit with other people. And I think it would be a long event, so that you would already come and then there is a main event and maybe there would be like, it would go on, but it's had not a starting point and ending point, but
Mhm.
probably there would be some main event which
Uh-huh. So you come and there's already things going on
stuff
around
is
you.
going on and
Uh-huh.
yes,
And what is going on? Like music, dance?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
maybe music, maybe also silence.
Silence.
Yeah.
Vipassana. Will you
No, I
Will you do Vipassana sessions in
just
your
relax a bit because
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I would like if I come to such a place that I could also go to a space where it's silence and you can
Mhm.
just spend some time there or sleep or whatever
Mhm.
and then go out again. Yes, and when listening to the music, would be important to me that there's various options. Like you could lie on the floor or you could
Ah.
sit or stand or dance.
Mm.
And the atmosphere is very open, so to the maximum people are actually doing what they need to
Yes.
or want to experiment with. So yes, and there could be also ways to contribute, of course,
Uh-huh.
like
Like
you
what?
know, like to sing along, to hum
Ah.
along, or to just to be part of it.
Mm. So it's also interactive.
I think I would like to. Yes,
Ah, wow. Nice. Will there be food?
yes, of course.
Uh-huh. What kind of food?
Oh, well, good question. Good food, like just
Good
well
food.
prepared, good quality. Different tastes, I would say,
Uh-huh.
like spicy food,
Uh-huh. Like world cuisine.
maybe yes.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yes.
In this medieval castle, some
Yes.
sushi.
Probably yes. I would just, if I had the infinite resources, just experiment with it and just put the food what comes to mind.
Mhm.
Some people like not necessarily. I don't want to decide about everything for sure, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if somebody hears a piece and he thinks about whatever sort of sushi and then to connect it, I don't know. I like this sort of
Ah.
random experiments, but
Yes.
it still has a connection then.
Uh-huh.
I would be interested. And I think there would be walls in my castle where everyone can paint and write on,
Ah,
for
wow.
example. Like
Nice.
some spaces.
Cool. I would go to this castle.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm sold.
Yes. Nice.
So let's drink to your castle.
Thanks. I have a last question for you.
Huh. Yes.
Yes,
I am
is
ready.
it correct? Okay.
Yes.
So the question is, do you consciously cultivate freedom as a value or as a feeling or a state of being?
Ooh, that's a heavy one.
Sorry,
Nice.
not. Go ahead. You can answer heavily or not heavily.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's interesting because, like, I think people think of different things when they say freedom,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think this is like also like very much in the political debate these days, like, right? It's like we had this like election now in Austria where the Freiheitspartei
True.
won the elections, and they believe that they represent true freedom. And you also have people who like advocate, for example, for freedom of speech. And what does this entail, right? Because like, does freedom of speech means that I have the freedom to be an asshole to everyone? Like, is this freedom of speech, or is freedom of speech about feeling safe saying your ideas? You know, because like, yeah, if everyone can say their ideas, but like, if I say something and a million people tell me that like I'm stupid for saying this, it's not really freedom of speech, right? Because like then you feel you can feel suppressed. You can feel like it's unsafe to say something like this because you might feel threatened.
Yes.
So um, maybe freedom depends on how you define it when you say like advocating for freedom. Like maybe I'll ask you a counter question.
Okay.
What is freedom for you?
For me, the most clear thing is rather a feeling, which then is not necessarily reflected by some circumstances
Mm-hmm.
of the other world. So maybe that's of the anxious person. But on the other hand, the feeling of freedom is something like which nobody can take away, basically. If you have the feeling, then you have it. In the moments you have it. So I would go for this definition of it. But of course, this has an impact also on the outer world. Like if you have this feeling very stable and very well, then you probably act differently. Maybe you would not rely so much on some sorts of outer freedom, which might be still necessary. But of course, if you're killed, then your feeling doesn't really matter anymore. So so it goes to some extent. Yeah.
I mean, there's the famous Chris Christopherson song, "Me and Bobby McGee." You know this song? The chorus is freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's a bit different than what you are saying, right? Like because you're talking about like an internal feeling.
Yes.
And this is more like an external thing, like nothing left to lose. It means that like of course it's also internal, but it also means that like the world doesn't impact me.
Yes.
But like, yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because for me, like, freedom is the like ability to let's say, yeah, like do whatever feels right. Yeah, I would say without having to answer to others.
Okay.
You know? But in a way, like sometimes the thing that feels right is to answer to others, right? Because like sometimes making other people satisfied is a very satisfying and gratifying feeling.
Yes.
So that's the reason that like it's like never black and white. Like it's like a very elusive feeling of freedom. But I would say when I feel the most free, in a way, and like the like now that I'm thinking of it like intuitively, is when I don't have any thoughts in my mind. This happens a lot while traveling because like you're on vacation and you don't need to answer to anyone. And you're on a boat, for example, and you just enjoy the wind flowing through your hair and like the smell of the sea and like the movement of the ship.
Yeah.
And like just like enjoying like the actual details of the moment and nothing like in the past and nothing in the future. You're just like,
you don't depend on anything that you know.
Exactly.
Or remember.
You just exist
Yes.
in the moment and enjoy it. So in a way, this is like true freedom, and like how to advocate for it. This is actually really interesting. I hope that in a way, like these interviews like help advocate for it, because like it really forces us to tackle things in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know the questions you have prepared. You don't know the questions I have prepared. You could guess. Of course, I can also guess
Yeah.
from your interest. But we really need at the moment to have like this real communication. Otherwise, it doesn't work, right?
Right.
Otherwise, it's boring.
Yeah.
And I hope that the show is interesting.
Yes.
um, so I would say this is like in a way, the way to advocate for freedom. Just allowing yourself to actually be, to not be stuck. Don't be like a prisoner
Mm-hmm.
of memories,
Mm-hmm.
or don't be imprisoned by fantasies.
Yes.
Just yeah, exists in the actual moment. And I think this is also like you must have experienced this in successful concerts, because when the music is played really well, I guess you also have this like sense of freedom, right? That it's like
Yes.
it's not, it's beyond
Yes.
the notes that are written, and beyond like the accuracy of like playing it, like it's something like celestial, right? Like
Absolutely.
you're sent into like a different um dimension, basically.
Yes.
And when it's really successful, it happens collectively. Like the whole ensemble feels it.
Yes.
They feel that like they're doing something big, bigger than like any individual, bigger than the audience around them. It's like something really special,
Yes.
of like human connection, that everyone is like listening in the moment. Everyone is like communicating their emotions, or not even emotions, they're just like their being,
Mm.
their existence in the space at the moment. And this can be like extremely powerful. um but yeah, like you were asking about like advocating this. I guess the way advocating this might go back to like the beginning of our
Yes, I think so.
conversation,
Yes.
about just like being perceptive and being um yeah, willing to um like I use this phrase like having all of your holes open,
Okay.
right? We
Yes.
have our mouth,
Yes.
we have our nostrils, our
Yes.
eyes, our ears. Like all of these are holes that
Yeah.
allow the world to penetrate in.
Yes.
Um, and if we keep them open, like the world can penetrate in, and we can also like communicate with the world um, through our holes, right? Like through our mouth hole is like the most obvious, but like also through our eyes. Like we
Yeah.
we make a lot of communication through our eyes and our
Of
facial
course.
expressions,
Yeah.
right? Um, so yeah, it's easier said than done, right? To allow ourselves to put ourselves in such a vulnerable position.
Mm-hmm.
But um yeah, for me, like the base assumption is that like um people are good, and if you have good intentions, if you have like truly good intentions, people will appreciate your good intentions. And if you'll make the first step, and you'll make the first step of like opening up your holes,
Mm-hmm.
and creating a direct line of communication
Mm-hmm.
with other human beings, they will follow suit.
Mm-hmm.
And this can create some really wonderful moments of human communication that you can't you can't even like describe it in words, or put a price tag on, or like or make an aesthetic statement about, right? It's like it's beyond everything we can communicate. It's like a different level
Yeah.
of communication that like I'm sure you way more than like the average musician is aware of, like with all your projects and ensembles, where you actually have to have this level of communications to have semi-successful
Yes.
concert in a way. Like you're putting yourself sometimes in a really difficult position in
Right.
this sense.
That's right.
Yeah. So this is like just like a stream of thought following your question. I hope this answered a little bit.
Yes. How does it get back to freedom? Like, is it
Mm,
then the present state which feels quite free? Probably yes.
because yeah, I think if you
Presence.
have like an open line of communication,
Yes.
you feel free to say things that you usually you keep
Yeah.
preserved, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you um
Right.
like yeah, like saying like that I would like to be a professional dancer. Like this is not something you say in your day-to-day life, right?
No. Right.
um
It's true.
and just like saying it out loud is already like I think extremely powerful. Of course there are like levels
Yes.
to this thing, right?
No,
Of
but
course
you should also
w-
not judge too much, I think, because
of
the
course
openness is the openness.
that's
It's the
what I'm
beauty
saying. Of
of
course
it.
it's a two-way stream, is it?
Yeah.
And like it becomes more complicated when you have more people involved.
Yeah.
But like yeah, I think and I think also like a just like a side note to that is um maybe like turning off turning off the judgment, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
but not only of others but also of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we think it's like, okay, I'm saying what I think, but like what would people think
Yes.
about that? And I think it doesn't really matter. Like it's of course it's important, again, like in communication, to like see if I insulted someone. I don't want to insult anyone, of course, like
Yeah.
of course. But if the conversation is open enough for all sides involved, we will also be open to be insulted and be ridiculed and be laughed at, because this is also like a part of life to
Yeah.
to get this like perspective of like, yeah, how other people perceive me. And if I'm not open to understand, to perceive the world, I will also not be open to see how other people perceive me,
Yeah.
and I will
Yeah.
just be stuck in my own self-image.
Yeah. Or just very, just leave it some and get out some aspects,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like basically like an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And that's not, yeah, I don't think that's a healthy or a free
Yeah.
thing. This does not grant you freedom.
That's true. Okay.
So
Yep.
to
People are good.
to
It's
be
heavy, but
to
I like
yeah, to
to
the
say it out loud also.
yes, to the goodness of the human nature.
Yes. More elegant.
So you play a lot of instruments. Like I've been to your apartment. You have
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
many instruments.
Yes.
And you play them. Most of them are wind instruments.
Actually, the string instruments I don't play.
You don't play any string instruments.
I mean, not professionally.
Yeah, but you can play them.
Oh, well, I would not say that in public.
Okay.
But I sometimes,
okay.
I mean, I'm learning.
Okay.
But
Let's focus on the
yes,
wind
the
instruments.
wind instruments.
Yeah.
Yes, good.
You still play a lot of them.
Yes,
lot
if
of
you
different-
count them differently. Yes.
Yeah, for me, yes, because everyone is
Yeah, it's true.
each and one of them is like completely
Unique.
different and like unique and like have its own sounds and quirks, and like
Yes.
you really need to practice them also. It's not that like you can, if you practice the basic recorder, you can play all recorders. Of course you need to have
Yes.
experience in all sizes and ranges in order to play them well.
Yes.
So I would like, first of all, like maybe technically, to people who are completely out of this world of not only like historical music but also like classical music,
Music.
in general, like maybe like tell us about these instruments.
Okay.
Like yeah, how do they work? why there are so many, and because like usually like a violin player, he plays the violin and that's it.
It's one violin in his lifetime.
Um, but like a recorder player usually plays like dozens of instruments, and you also extended your repertoire with like other types of wind instruments. So like, yeah, maybe just like give us like an overview of these instruments, and then I might have some follow up.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So I after finishing my studies, I just realized that I'm very much interested on the 15th century, and I already played recorder, which is already luckily it already existed in the 15th century. So I was glad.
Very lucky.
So it's not a very wrong choice. So I play recorders from the time roughly. They are, what can I say about them? They exist in different sizes, as you have already said, and it refers as well as to the tuning, like which is the lowest note, which is the highest note, kind of what notes you can play, more or less, and also then in relation to other recorders, because you many times recorders they work well in a group of other recorders or similar instruments. So that's already one point where it gets you to own many recorders. If you want to play with different people and do different music, you already have 10, for example. Easily.
This is just like the basic
Easily.
pack,
and
basic package for a recorder player, 10 recorders.
At least. And then you still fail because you still don't match all the requirements actually. Because then you have different combinations of instruments or singers sometimes, and the transpositions, we always transpose the music. It's written in a certain pitch, but we always play it at a different pitch, basically, almost always. So there are really many possibilities to be comfortable with everyone, and the best result is always when everybody is comfortable in their range. Like for the human voice, it's obvious. Like everyone has their comfortable range, but then for the wind instruments, string instruments, each have their like good range where they are comfortable. And yes, you can of course adjust to it, and not everybody has to be in the ideal always, but if you're too far from it, just gets bad and a lot of struggle, like you are playing notes which are sounding very well, even if you practice, it still gets a bit stupid. So better have more instruments to match all requirements. And then beside the recorders, I play shawms, which is a double reed instrument. Double reed instruments nowadays are oboes and bassoons.
Yes.
So the reed is more in the bassoon direction than in the oboe, even though I studied Baroque oboe before. But the shawms are loud instruments, very loud.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a bit like a horn in a way.
Yeah, I don't know
like
how to compare
in its projection, I mean.
Yeah.
Of the sound.
Yeah, it gets really far.
Yeah.
It goes well along with trumpets in terms of sound and loudness, brightness also.
Yeah.
So they work in a way similar to the recorders because they also have holes to put your fingers on. But then you make the sound with a reed, so you have different options for many things, like the sound color for tuning. You can also affect a lot with the reed. You can change even the tuning a lot more. So you have to, it's a bit more difficult in terms, like, no, it's not more difficult, but the range, if you have one fingering and there comes out a note and you have quite a big range, which note can come out, which note you can produce with the same fingering. So that's the main difference between the recorders and the shawms. One main difference in technical, like how to play them. Yes.
Do you make your own reeds?
Yes, but I'm not a reed nerd at all yet, and I am on my way to be more reed nerdy.
Okay.
Because I still buy like some elements of the reeds, like the woods. I buy them quite prepared. So yes, I mean, I think.
So your goal is to make your own reeds from scratch eventually.
Yes, I have colleagues who do it, and I have also started learning it with them, and so
Mhm.
I have done some, but there's a lot of more potential for me. I think like I really don't like it so much, but I know it's the way to go also.
The way to go.
Yes. So I'm taking slow steps.
Because then you can adjust the sound to exactly what you want, or what's
I mean,
the reason?
I kind of can adjust the sound to what I want now also, but it's more historical. For example, the way the reeds are produced,
Historically, like
like they did in
the
all times.
musicians,
Like the tools have already existed in all times, and like
historically musicians made their own reeds.
yeah, I mean, we don't know, but I guess yes.
Uh-huh.
But the way the reeds are made, there's different options, and some are more historical than others. So yes, and from scratch is also true. So it's interesting. I mean, I think I will not get there very quickly because that's not my main interest, but
Yeah.
I'm feeling that I'm getting there as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And like, what is because like there's like a lot of instruments,
Mhm.
like we said, and you said that there's like a singer has their range,
Yeah.
also the musician has their range. Do you feel there's like a specific range that is more suited to for your musical sensibilities?
Oh, like, I mean the pitches or what kind of range? I mean, I meant just like I don't know. I can sing a low note,
Yeah.
and I have a certain limit.
Yeah.
And so have the instruments.
Uh-huh.
So and then if
Because I thought you meant that like the musicians also have in a way like a range of what they can of like which instruments work better with them.
oh, I mean
Work
that
better for
exists.
them.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
it comes out. I think like probably you don't know it first sight, but
Yeah.
it turns out that certain people do certain things well. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So for you, what comes more naturally?
I don't know. Now, like I play a lot of the tenor chant.
Uh-huh.
It's but it's called sometimes alto chant, but you always play a tenor line on it.
Uh-huh.
It's something I like a lot. It's a kind of match as a combination of the actual range of pitches you play, but also the role and the function you get in the ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one that I could not, for example, I could not have it as a singer because I'm not the real singer, but also I would not be able to sing a tenor, of course. But with the pommel I can, so I'm feeling, oh, this is something for me.
Nice.
Like a good extension,
which
and I think instruments can be a good extension of what the people could not do without the instruments.
Yes.
Because why would you have the instruments otherwise?
Yes. And you find yourself like in a good position with this, with these parts.
Exactly. Yes. But I think it can change after 10 years doing it. I guess I will be very experienced.
Yeah.
Or 20, I don't know.
Wait, these sounds, what are they actually made of? It's wood, or
yes.
So it's like the recorders.
Yes.
So all 15th century wind instruments were made of wood?
No, they are also brass instruments.
Yeah, of course.
So there's trumpets and slide trumpets, which is a bit similar to the trombone, which I play a lot with. So it's a very good complement to the chant. And there's the cornetos, but they are also made of wood mainly. And what other instruments are there? Well, I think it's either a brass instrument or
wood.
Made from wood, yes. But what modern wind instruments are they, which are made from something else?
Plastic recorders?
Plastic, yes, okay. Well, they didn't have plastic in the 15th century. But I own a 3D printed charm as well. But I don't like it.
How is it? How does it compare with the sound?
Well, it's not bad at all, but it's not my favorite instrument. I won't mention it too loudly. No, I think it's normal. I mean, it's practical. It's funny. For example, the color is green. It can get wet, so it opens possibilities to do crazy things with it, and it has clearly advantages. Yes, it's for me. Somehow, it's not a real charm.
It's not a real charm.
Yes.
And what what is your, because like we mentioned, these like instruments are old in a way, right? Like they're in a way like not of our time.
Yes.
Um, maybe can you describe your personal connection with these instruments? Like how do they? Because I think like musical instruments, like you said, they're like an extensions
Hmm.
of us. They're also like friends, right? Like
Yes.
they help us achieve things we can't do on our own.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe yeah, for like ending this discussion, like maybe describe your like the more personal aspect of your relationship with these many instruments, with like this like big family that surrounds you as a as a historic music musician.
Yeah. I think the loudness of the shawms
Uh-huh.
is one main extension, which I enjoy a lot.
Hmm.
Um, because it just opens up new worlds and very, very good experiences. And also, like, all my instruments are very, I connect them so closely with the people which I play them together with, which are all, not all, but many of them are really good friends and very close people. So it's always somehow deep and um, like a little world
Uh-huh.
in its own, which we access when coming together, playing together, performing together, like just sharing very nice moments or intensive moments or whatever moments.
Moments, yeah.
um, I like to feel and to hear the overtones. I already mentioned it in
Yes.
some other. Oh yeah, and I think these instruments really enable me to do so. So I actually had my first experiences with overtones with instruments, not with voice.
Hmm.
So I think for me it's a good tool also to learn that and to play around with it and just to produce a sound and then have these other sounds coming with it, just me alone in a room. So it's very basic but very satisfying, I would say.
Yeah. To see how sound is born and spreading.
Yeah, and how I can affect it also.
Hmm.
So which ones I can enhance maybe. I always, you never know what comes out from an external listener. But
Yes.
like the feeling of playing it is very nice, and also the vibration, feeling it, being able to do stuff with it, like all sorts, is quite satisfying to me.
Oh.
Different characters, different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, each of them is really like its own unique creature.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is really wonderful. Like it's a thing that like in a way like other musicians don't have, right? Like you have your violin and it's like you're stuck with this one person that you have to work with.
Yeah.
You have the choice. You can, it's like, I don't like so much this tenor today. I'll go to this soprano.
Can happen. Yeah. Yeah, but on the other, it's very common in the historical field to play many instruments,
Yes.
even many types of instruments. So on the one side, people can make fun of us because, of course, I have not spent as much time with each instrument as the violinist has spent with a modern violin.
Yes.
So of course, there's differences, but yeah, also a lot of like it has good and bad sides, I would say. So yeah.
Great. Hey.
Yeah.
So
to the instrument family.
To the instrument family, or to family in general.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there a more ritual to it?
So, Laura, thank you very much. It was really fun. I hope it was fun for you as well.
Yeah.
great conversation. Always, it's always interesting what kind of like ideas can come up from these kinds of conversations and what thoughts might arise. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and for joining us on Guy's Trip. And yeah, I hope to speak with you again on multiple occasions. And thanks everyone for watching. And goodbye.
Goodbye and thanks.